Drawing of the Three is the second in a 7-book series written by the amazing Stephen King. And the first book, The Gunslinger, was actually probably one of my favorite King books ever. And the odd thing is, it's only 300 pages, which is minuscule compared to some of his other books, which range from 800 all the way to 14,000 with The Stand. And the Dark Tower series is notorious for being some of his best work. And it continues with the Drawing of the Three, which the series follows a character named Roland, who is this last gunslinger from a world where these gunslingers were sort of knights and protectors of all the other worlds, and he's the only one left. He's trying to stop this character called the Man in Black, who's also trying to reach the Dark Tower for nefarious reasons. And the Dark Tower is this thing that might not even be a physical thing. It's a representation of the rest of the universe, time, and space. It's essentially connected to everything. And in the second book, it starts off with Roland in an interesting place. He gets the crap beat out of him. I don't want to give anything away, but Roland is in a bad place within the first 20 to 30 pages. It's rather shocking how much he goes through in such little time. And he slowly realizes, I need some help. So he uses these sorts of doorways, which he discovered in the first book, to sort of recruit these people from different times and places. One individual, he's a drug addict, kind of a loser, and he goes through his own story arc in this story, and he sort of becomes something more than what he was in this life he was living in, where he was just kind of a waste of space. And although he hates Roland at first, there's this odd friendship that develops throughout the story. And then the third character, which is why it's called the Drawing of the Three, where you got the gunslinger, and then you've got Eddie. There's this disabled woman who she's lost both of her legs, and not only that, she's got dual personality disorder. She's got this one side that's that's very sweet and kind and normal, and there's this other side that's complete psychotic, makes Two-Face look like Betty Crocker. And it's sort of interesting when she comes in the picture a little bit later, but it's sort of interesting to see how that dynamic is added. But the relationship between Roland and Eddie is expanded on quite a bit, and the book is more about the relationship between the characters. Yeah, there's a lot of good imagery, and there's some cool action too, but I have a feeling that King is saving the best for some of the later works, or at least that's sort of the feeling I've got. And I've heard that the third book, The Wastelands, is the best of all of the 7. I've heard they're all terrific, but a lot of people seem to like the third one the most. For me, the first one is still the best. Of course, that doesn't mean the Drawing of the Three is terrible. It is by no stretch of the imagination terrible. It's really good. It proves again why Stephen King is Stephen King. He's amazing. And he proves once again that he's not just a horror writer. He can write pretty much whatever he wants. With this series, I think that's what he was setting out to do, was to prove that he could write a big series that had small horror elements trickled throughout, but really it's more of a Western fantasy, and just proves how big of an imagination he is. And I'm glad that the movie is coming out, and more people are going to learn about these books. Not that they weren't big before, because they certainly are, but it's just, Dark Tower, I hope the Dark Tower becomes as big of a household name as Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, because it deserves it. And I'm excited to see where the film goes, and I'm excited to review the rest of these books, because they're really terrific. My expectations for the others are very, very high. And if you like what you've seen, and remember the face of your father, click below, subscribe, Check out my Twitter. Check out my webpage. Goodbye.